Good afternoon, everyone. It's me, Jessica, your health fitness program manager from McLean, and I love Wednesdays because we get to do yin yoga for now, because when we return to office, yin yoga moves to Fridays. What a great start to our weekend coming up next month. But for today, yin yoga is on Wednesday. We're gonna get started in about 4 minutes, so you have time to put on something really comfortable and cozy. I'm gonna turn the air conditioning off so you can hear me as clearly as possible. Gather any props that you need. Today's class is all about really opening those shoulders, and we're gonna bring some love to the hips and the ankles as well, because I know it's gorgeous outside. You're probably trying to get out there and enjoy it. Maybe you'll even hear the cicadas humming in the background today. You're welcome to take these next 3 minutes to just start to come into your mind, your body, your practice, to make your space smell nice. Maybe you want to sit down already. I'm going to hit the ladies' room, and then we can do this. Buddy. But I cannot find anything right this second. All right, 2 minutes, y'all. Yay! It's time for class, everyone. Welcome. Suggesting that we get started in a child's pose today. So feel free to open your knees as wide as you want to. Bring your big toes together. Get started towards the back of your mat towel. For an awesome child's pose, we got about 2 minutes that we're going to hang out here. Start to create a little extra space and length through that lower back. Just focusing in on your breath, making it as quiet, as slow, and relaxed as possible. Remember, in yin yoga, we're working to find and hold a stillness. So once you have found your stillness, You don't need to worry about becoming any deeper in the posture. Focus on just being right here, right now. Breathe it out. 1 more minute right here. If at any point, however, during the class, any posture that we're in goes from being a noticeable stretch, maybe even a little uncomfortable, to any feelings of sharp pain, then you are absolutely encouraged to take a little bit of movement, to come out of the posture gently, to find what does work for you, and then work back to that stillness as swiftly as you can. All right. Take your first scan of your body from head to toe. As we start class, just notice how your body feels today. How is your mind? Is it easy to quiet and close it down from whatever it was you were working on before class started? Or did you hit the mat and it's going at 1,000,000 miles a second? Maybe work stuff, family stuff, life stuff, just personal feelings. They're amazing. They make you who you are. But take this time to just honor yourself and your breath. We're gonna make this posture a little bit more challenging by shifting up into tabletop and starting to walk those hands forward a little bit more, coming into puppy pose. Can you keep your hips stacked about on top of your knees? And work to bring your chest to the floor. And if that feels really challenging right now, go ahead and bring a block or a pillow or something underneath of your chest. And if you're still like, no, that is so uncomfortable, I cannot do that, then you get to hang out in child's pose for just 2 more minutes. See where your shoulders are at. Are they still really creeped up towards your ears? Because here in puppy pose, option to find a little bit more motion and activation through that back, drawing your shoulders away from your ears, even finding a stretch forward of your chin. Doesn't matter if it's not stretched out on the floor. We got 1 minute left right here to just keep breathing. So continue to use your inhale throughout the entire class to just be aware of how your body feels today. And notice if you are creating any extra tension. And while I don't encourage you to necessarily go super deeper into the posture, it's not like you have to change the posture. You can use your breath to relax those tense spots, especially if that relaxation helps to build a little bit more length. Use your one next big inhale to walk your hands in, press yourself up into tabletop, walk those legs in a little bit closer, and take a moment to turn your hands, palms around. So thumbs are to the outsides of the mat, fingers are pointing towards your knees, getting a big stretch in our wrists, in our forearms. Give yourself a little cat-cow here. Might not be able to go quite as deep in either cat or cow. It's totally okay. Keep your eye gaze down towards the floor and then towards your knees or chest, and then look up towards the ceiling. Oh, you're so awesome. Just a couple more breaths right here. And then we're going to release ourselves back down towards the floor. Make sure you're not sinking into those shoulders as you're starting to warm up. Hopefully you can press your hands a little deeper into the floor. Find a little bit more lift of that upper body. And then go ahead, turn your hands around the normal way. Give yourself a minute of cat-cow right here. Or if it feels good to try and turn your hands out to the side. Find the movement that feels good for you. Don't feel like you have to stick to a regular traditional cat-cow. Taking a little yang moment right here with our yin to find some movement, to just really notice your tired spots of your body. and send them a little bit of love. Tell them, this class is for you. I'm doing this for you. I'm doing this for me. It's a good feeling to do something just to be good to yourself. All right, we're gonna start to lower ourselves down onto the floor, and next up we're gonna do a posture called bow tie. I highly recommend having a prop at the top of your mat, a pillow, a block, maybe 2 blocks, and you might find yourself playing with the height of whatever your prop is. For bow tie, we're going to cross one arm over the other as we lower ourselves down the mat. Keep your palms facing up so you can keep your elbows on the floor as you walk your legs back, and then walk those hands out as far as you can. Can you get your head down to your prop? Mine feels a little far away, so I'm just gonna change the height of my prop. And we're gonna hang out here in this bow tie. We got some time here, I believe. Yeah. Giving us a total of 3 minutes. This is a big one on the shoulders. We're gonna come out of this into Sphinx. So we're focusing on the opening of the upper body. So start your scan from your toes to your head. Relax your toes and your ankles. Relax your knees and really take the tension out of your glutes. Find that one spot to relax your eyes, to release your mind. 2 minutes left right here, and then we get to come into Sphinx. Totally normal to feel some tingling or even some numbness in the extremities of the upper body. Normal during yin class to maybe feel some shaking or trembling, some involuntary movements despite your awesome focus on stillness. And that's cool. That's normal. It's what we're going for. We're just creating new awakenings and energy paths within the body, new connections by stimulating the fascia, the ligaments, the muscles, even our bones. Hanging out in postures for a little bit longer than usual because it takes at least 30 seconds to create that autogenic inhibition so that our Golgi tendon organs can relax and create some length. Get your last 2 slow breaths in here. And then take your time. I think it helps to lift your head, to bring your hands, palms to the floor, and then draw one elbow out at a time. Move as slowly as you need to. We're coming into Sphinx Pose next. So if you can, elbows come underneath of the body, and you draw that chest gently forward as you find a little squeeze of those shoulder blades towards each other and away from your ears. And if that is too much for you still, after that bow tie, simply relax and release your head down to the floor. Focus on creating less tension in that mid-back if you need to. And you can do whatever feels good with your head. If you want to create a little extra upper body tension by keeping your chin neutral towards the floor, awesome. If it feels better to take a little chin towards the chest, we got 1 minute left right here. So just find something that you can commit to for your next 5 incredibly slow breaths. Awesome. If you're up in Sphinx, carefully release yourself down to the floor. Make a little pillow and place your head on your amazing pillow. Windshield wipe those knees right and left. Relieve the tension from your lower back because we're going to come into the opposite side of our bow tie. Hopefully you remember which arm you put on top. I believe I mentioned that we should put our right arm on top. So if you're joining me, if we're doing the same thing, this time you've got your left arm on top. Remember, both sides of the body are not the same. Take your time to come on into this posture. Palms face up towards the ceiling. Shoulders squared towards the floor. Check in with that lower body. Take that tension out. Less than 1 minute to go. You are amazing. You can stay here right now. You can melt into the mat just a little bit more, knowing that the time of this stretch is almost over. So just take that tension out of your chest and your back and your glutes, out of your lower body. Just breathe and be for 3 more breaths. Awesome. After this next final exhale, you're going to start to wiggle those fingers forward. Take your time. Bring your left arm out first. And then bring your right arm out, coming into Sphinx Pose. You can always open those arms a little bit wider and release your chest down to the floor and still find a little pressure for that back. And, you know, maybe you want to put your chin on a block. Maybe you're being so kind to yourself with your head on the block. Oh, but check in with that lower body and see if your tension crept back in. I have to use every exhale to remind myself to release my glutes. you want to challenge yourself a little bit more here at the very end for the last minute, you can even press yourself up into seal. Worst case scenario, you try it and you're like, nope, and you come back out. But there's no fidgeting. We're not coming out and in. You're finding one thing and you're just committing to being there the best that you can today. Keep this next exhale as slow as you possibly can and release yourself back down towards the mat. Make that amazing pillow with your hands again. Go ahead, bend your knees, windshield wipe your feet, take that tension out of your back and probably even a little bit in your shoulders. Great, we're gonna press ourselves up onto tabletop. We're gonna let this upper body relax just a little bit. Let's come into cat-cow again. Place your hands however you want to underneath of those shoulders though. Feel free to give yourself a little shake of those shoulders, maybe a little stretch of the neck, looking over the shoulders. Any sort of tabletop stretch that feels good for you. We're gonna open up our hips next with a little pigeon. And then we're gonna come back into upper body and shoulders, chest. So just about 3 or 4 more breaths here, finding whatever wiggles make you feel good and bring a smile to your face. All right, come on back to tabletop and let's take that right leg. I'm gonna look like I'm doing the opposite. But I promise, right leg is starting. We're gonna draw that right leg up a little bit closer towards your hands. So right knee comes outside, or sorry, behind, oh my gosh, words, the right hand palm, and then you gently walk that left leg back. Keep the focus on keeping your left quad down on the mat. Does not matter if your right glute does not touch the mat. You can get a great stretch through that right glute and open up that left hip. And if your quads are really tight, just being here on the floor with that quad on the floor can be a nice stretch as well. Find what feels good for your upper body. You can always sleep all the way down towards the floor to really take the tension away. Or once again, using those props. We got 2 minutes left right here on this side. Find one spot to relax your eyes, relax your mind and your breath. Focus on feeling that stretch. Where do you feel the stretch? Last minute right here. This stretch is noticeable, especially throughout the right glute. But wow, does it feel really good. Tell me where you were feeling it today. any of you swans were sleeping closer to the floor, or pigeons, you know. Totally the same. We're going to go ahead, press ourselves back up, fold that back leg in. Let's take a moment to just pass through some version of deer pose. So legs can be 90-90, or maybe you have that back leg folded in just a little bit more. Ooh, bringing those hands behind me really increases the stretch. So much so it took me a second to say so. So you can always keep the weight a little more towards that same leg that we were birds for. All right, and now let's press the soles of the feet into the floor. You might need to shift yourself a little down your mat. I do. Let's drop into this deer pose in the opposite side. So we're just going to take a different route to get into our pigeon swans. So silly. Oh yes. All right, so let's do it, y'all. Let's come on down into our pigeon on the opposite side. So this time the left knee comes close to the back of the left hand palm, and you knee toe your foot back, or maybe you found you didn't have space and you walk forward and do the same thing. Knee toe one foot back at a time. The more parallel your shin is to the top of your mat, the more open your body is. But like, I'm feeling real tight on this side, so you can see if you're looking at me that my left heel is really close to my right hip. That's okay. Find that way to relax your upper body. We're hanging out here for 2 more minutes. Remember, you are working more towards getting your extended back leg hip towards the floor, keeping that thigh on the mat as opposed to rolling and placing your bent knees glute on the mat. Whoa. That was some real tension in my upper body right there. You have 1 minute left here to create some big full breaths through the back side of the body, enjoying the sensation of your backside ribs expanding. Use the focus on your breath to continue to notice wherever you're feeling the stretch, however comfortable or uncomfortable it might be. And if you're with me in party of, this is not too comfortable, we're going to use our exhales to just to let it go, to think about creating a little bit more space and length, and with that, comfort. I think it works. On your next exhale, bring that front leg glute towards the floor. Go ahead, bring the soles of the feet to the floor with bent knees. Just windshield wipe your legs this time. We are going to get back onto our bellies and do a slightly different version of broken wing. So normally we've been doing this awesome big shoulder stretch with our arms straight. This time as you come on down to the mat, go ahead, extend one arm all the way out to the side, whichever one you would like to start with. I'm going to start with what looks like my right arm. And then bend your right elbow if we're doing the same arm. Bend that arm that you just extended. Bring your opposite hand palm close to your chest. And we're going to gently roll over. You might want to put something under your head. Ah. And I bet you're probably going to want to keep those knees bent this time, as opposed to when we have that straight arm and it's really easy to roll over onto your side. Focus on getting your shoulder complex to draw away from your ears. You can feel a big opening in this 90-degree arms, chest, pec, into the bicep. And I'm going to extend my left hand to just give me some support here. Oh, but if you want to, you can bring that left hand behind you and really create that broken wing. And you know what? I don't want to do that, especially with my head lifted. I cannot do that. Just a couple more breaths right here. All right, if you've got a broken wing, stretch it up towards the ceiling, wiggle your fingers, bring it back down to the floor by your chest, find some support. Ooh, yes, carefully roll over onto your belly as well. Now let's go ahead and take our times to come into the opposite side. So extending the opposite arm out, beginning with your arm extended in line with your shoulder, and then bending that arm to a 90-degree angle. You can use your opposite hand to help you roll over. Remember, if you really don't want to have your head down on the floor, that's totally okay. You can use a prop to find some support, but make sure those shoulders aren't all the way up towards your ears, drawing them down by your back. That's why creating this delightful broken wing sends your elbow a little closer towards your hip to help you open both sides of the body. You're amazing. We got just about 2 minutes left right here. This would be so much more comfortable with the pillow. But it is what it is, and I'm staying right here where I can for this next minute plus. One of the things I really love about Yin is that you get to practice being uncomfortable. Like, how frequently do you get to practice being uncomfortable? Usually when you're feeling uncomfortable, it's on. Someone might be watching. But now's the time for you to put yourself in positions, literally, where you're uncomfortable. And it might make you feel upset or angry. Maybe when things are uncomfortable, you're like a giggler. But taking this time to practice so that the next time in life, when, surprise, you find yourself in an uncomfortable position, maybe an awkward meeting or just like interaction with a friend, you can come back to this breath and knowing that you can create this amazing stillness within yourself. And you can change or challenge the way that you might have normally reacted or overreacted, or just the visible reaction that you bring to those uncomfortable moments in life. Also, I like to think that if we ever had to hide from crazy people, that Yin teaches us such awesome stillness that, like, we could totally hide. They wouldn't find us. If the zombies are coming, we're good, y'all. All right, last couple of breaths right here. If you have that broken wing, take your time, inhale it up towards the ceiling. Exhale, release it down towards the floor. Roll back onto your belly. Let's press ourselves up to a seated position. Let's get up. Let's actually come into a kneeling position, because I forgot. Next up, we're going to give ourselves a little toe stretch. Just a quick toe stretch. All right. So hands, palms down on the floor. Tuck those toes under. You might even want to draw your knee a little closer to your elbow, and then drag your foot back to get as much of your toe meat curled under as possible. And then shift the weight of your glutes towards your heels and start to walk yourself up. And the more that you walk yourself up, the more you're going to start to feel this pressure build on the back of your toes. And every day is different, so some days you might need to keep your hands on the floor, and some days you might be able to lift yourself up. But remember, we're working towards stillness. We're only going to be here for 30 more seconds. So enjoy being uncomfortable for about 4 slow breaths. We made it. Bring your hands back down to the floor. Uncurl those toes. Go ahead, tap them. Yay! And then shift your knees to the side so you can get your glutes down towards the floor. Next up, we're going to come into, what was I calling this? Yeah, we're going to come into like half shoelace, but with zipper toes. Yay! All right, so shoelace is normally the one where we drag our knee as far over as possible. So go for it. Feel free to even use your hand to move your calf out of the way. And then it doesn't matter how far over it is, try not to jam your ankle bone against your quad, but if it has to be there, if this is where you are today, welcome. And if this stretches a little bit too much on this bottom leg, lift up your glutes a little bit and it should feel better. And then take your fingers and zipper them between your toes. I have some webbed feet, so I can't quite get all my fingers between my toes. It is what it is, we do our best. And then with your shoulder down and your elbow down, work to relax your elbow a little closer towards the floor, your shoulder away, and allow this bent knee to release down. You can even fold forward to increase the stretch if that feels good for you. 10 minutes. 2 minutes. Create that stillness, keep that relaxation coming back to your upper body. And remember, the more that you bring that weight forward, belly towards your thighs, if you went for the hinge, the better that your lower back is going to feel. So much better to bring those shoulders forward so that there's not this like awkward rounding in your lower back. So if you're hanging out right here right now and you're like, oh, my back is hurting, why does she look so comfortable? It is because I pulled myself forward to create that nice straight spine, and it helps me to release my shoulders away from my ears. Yay, 1 minute left. Hopefully we now all feel great. On your next inhale, find a little bit more lift of your chest and length of your spine. And on your exhale, release your fingers from your toes. Bring your hands behind you. Go ahead, extend that right leg. Bob your knees. Windshield wipe your feet. Shake those shoulders out. Maybe even press that chest up for a little supported backward bend. Let's go ahead and come right into the other side. So remember, we're going for shoelace. So see how close you can get your heel towards the outside of the hip. That's going to help you as you sit back down on the glute to have a little bit tighter of a cross of the knees on top of each other. You can use your hands to move your calf out of the way. Find that forward hinge so you don't have that uncomfortable rounding in your back, and create that little zipper with your fingers as much between your toes as your amazing toes allow today. And then do your best to stay squared to the front of the mat. Try not to turn out towards the side. Enjoy that forward hinge. Oh, shoulders releasing away from ears. You can allow your belly to relax a little bit, especially if you've already got this forward hinge. But if your back is still hurting, make sure you still keep at least a slight abdominal engagement. Just a few breaths left here. I think this feels awesome. This little zipper action with the bent elbow is really bringing the back side of the body to the party more than it would have been engaged if we simply hinged forward. All right. Gently start to release your zipper toes. Lift yourself up. Extend those legs out one more time. Bob your knees. Windshield wipe them. And then we're going to come back onto our knees. So drag those knees in. Press yourself back up into tabletop. Release yourself into a kneeling position, and then bring your hands behind you. Getting to enjoy a gentle little stretch on the quads. And we're going to bring in just 1 minute's worth of stretching the ankles. So press the top of one foot into the floor and work to lift that knee up. Bring it back down, and then other side. One leg might be able to lift a lot more than the other. Enjoying this ankle stretch. Ooh, squeezing those glutes a little as you squeeze those glutes to lift up and press those knees towards the floor. When everything's down, coming back into that quad stretch. Maybe give yourself a little ankle and then quads. You know what I like to say. Give it to me, I'm worth it. That is what I actually like to say though. Okay, awesome. Go ahead and walk those hands back in. Bring a prop with you. Shift your glutes to the side. Extend your legs forward. I just wanted to make sure that those ankles were open as we come into our final posture. We're going to go for a supported fish pose. And we're going to also add in this awesome reclined bound ankle. Now, if you don't have any sort of a prop that you can place behind you, you can always actually be here in fish pose with your bent forearms on the mat. But this is yin, you're supposed to relax. So if you don't have a prop, I would encourage you to just relax yourself down on the mat. And otherwise, use those props to find one more gentle lift of the chest, creating a little bit of pressure between the shoulder blades. Between the shoulder blades, not between just like your lower back ribs. Feels so good. Open those arms out to the side. And we're going to finish our class today in this fishy reclined bound angle. Or let's at least spend 2 minutes here and then we can come into a traditional Savasana. If you'd like to spend the next 4 minutes together in this position, you do it. You spend as long here as you want to, really opening those hips one last time. Engaging through the shoulders and opening the chest. Slow your breath down. Still using your inhale to just notice, to tell yourself where you feel the stretch, and your exhale to break down that tension to create space so that on your inhale soon, all you're doing is breathing. You're just focused on your breath. And this moment, without any anxiety, fear, or noticeable or stressful tension or discomfort. So we've been here for about a minute. You can probably relax and release just a little bit more. Find a little extra length. A little bit. All right, you're welcome to stay here in this posture as is. However, if you would like to truly release and melt into the mat and come into Savasana, take your time to gently come out of each part of the posture. I came out of bound angle first, and then I'm rolling over to come out of this fish pose, releasing my head down on the floor behind me. If you want to keep those knees bent and keep that lower back supported and glued to the mat, you're welcome to, especially if your back is smarting. Otherwise, you can extend those legs out. You can extend your arm out, and or both arms. You can extend any arms you have to the sides, or keep it close for our final minute together. As always, you're encouraged to stay in Savasana as long as you possibly can. If you have any questions or concerns about anything that I said or we did today, please reach out. Start to keep an eye out for some announcements as we are figuring out our amazing return to work. Promise that Yin Yoga is not going away. It shall move to Fridays. But you can access these videos on our YouTube page or on my personal page any day, anytime, and also through Facebook. Till we are together again, continue to think good thoughts and speak good words, eat good foods and do good deeds, all the things it takes to nourish ourselves from the insides out. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day. Please know that the light within me honors, sees, and is so thankful for the light within all of you. Namaste.